So let's move to the next topic of today, which is what? Shadows and gradients. Shadows and gradients. So we are finished with the transitions, right? So let's dive into shadows and gradients. So shadows and gradients are also easier. So let's look at shadows. We've done it before, right? But I think I'll just repeat it for you to see. Well, I think when we were doing the test formatting, I gave you this example, the shadow effect. Maybe you didn't remember, right?
Yeah.
But now because we have added a lot of properties, which is the hover effect, this will also help you to understand it clearly, right? So let's look at what this shadow effect is. So this is the test shadow that I give you, right? So the CSS test shadow property applies a shadow to tests, right? So you have what? Test shadow, right? In its simplest use, you only specify the horizontal and vertical shadow. You can add shadow color and blur effect like this. I gave you when we were doing the test formatting.
Yeah, that one for the text formatting.
So this is what the test shadow is. We added distance, right? So this one is the horizontal and this one is the vertical, right? And when you want to add a color to it, you add this horizontal, vertical, and you added the color. So this is the effect that it gives you, right? The horizontal effect, the vertical effect, and that of the color. So the color is like it add the blur effect to the shadow. So that's why it adds. You see that it's like it's red, but it's normally it's blur. So all this in the test shadow effects. And this is what you achieve. But this thing we've done it, so I don't think I have to waste my time here. You understand?
Is it the same as the one we did?
Yeah, it's the same thing. This one, the thing is, in CSS, we have this one is only for tests. You understand? There is one for box. How we understand? Because this one is test. Test means this test that you are writing like a normal test, like paragraph. You understand? But when it comes to a box, for instance, in our code, you can say this one is box, right? Because we are telling div. In that div, there is nothing inside. So it's like we are dealing with what box. But when we are dealing with tests, we write something like P, and inside we can add a lot of tests like this. So this is now a test now. This is a test. These are tests, right? So if you want to change anything with the test, you can just come and see you're targeting the P, or maybe if we want to add some element inside, you can see that we want to use some element which is strong, or maybe let's make it bold, which is B, right? B means bold. So we can copy this first word test and put it inside, as we did the last time. Because it is bold, so you see that this difference, right?
Yeah.
So this is just a what HTML element that we use as bold, right? So when we are targeting the CSS, we can target only the B, which is the bold. So we can come here inside our CSS and say we are targeting B because it is just an element, right? So you can say we want to add test shadow because it is a test. So we're adding test shadow to it. So how many do you want? We can say 2 pixels for the horizontal, 2 pixels for the vertical, and then the color, the blur color maybe, we can say blue. So you see what happens. Look at what happened. Right? So we mean that we are targeting only this. Because these are B is close inside this one, B elements. So we are targeting only these things. Right? So you can play with this. This is the test shadow. Because it is smaller, we cannot even see it clearly. So we can add maybe the font size, and then we can say we want the font size to be 20 pixels. Right? So we see that this one is bigger than all the other ones. So sometimes, in order to have some effect like this, some people can just target one of elements, one letter, and they say L, right? So this is L, and then they can add the font to be very bigger. Maybe I would say 100 pixels, right?
Yeah.
So you see that this one stand out. So you can also achieve something like this, right? So it means that whatever I apply these things will affect this. Maybe I'll say instead of 2, I'll say 1. Maybe here I can say 3, right? And here I can change this color to maybe different color and say I want maybe green. I want this color, right?
Yeah.
So that is what the test effect or the test shadow is. This is the test shadow. We are dealing with tests. But there is one we call the box. We are dealing with box. So when you go down, you see that this one is what? For the tests. We can also have multiple of them. We can apply different. As I told you last time, if you want to apply a lot of them, you can apply. You understand? Right? So here,
Yeah.
there are a lot of them. Here you can apply all this, and the blur, there's some, the blur is also, you can apply maybe 2 pixels, right? So these 3 things, for instance, these 3 that you see, this is the what? Horizontal, this is vertical, this is blur, and this is the color. So these are normally the 4 values that we use. So I can copy this and then use it in my design here. You see what happens here. Then I can bring a comma and add another one. Here, this one, the same with different effects. So it apply, you see how it is. I can go on and add another one, comma. So you can add multiple. You see that it's increasing. So this one, I can also change the color to different. And say I want yellow. Yeah, so these are all applying in the same thing. But you are just applying it in different one style. Or the shadow effect will be what? Applying here on these things. Right? So it's like you're applying paint on this L. You apply the first paint, you see that, oh, this first paint is very light. Then you go in and added another second paint, which is blue. And then you go on and added another what? Third paint, which is what? This light what? Green. So that's how it's affected here. Right? So if you want to achieve different colors on the same test, you can do that. So that's why here we said multiple shadows. You understand? So here they apply 2 shadows, 2 different shadows with different what colors. Here they apply a lot. This is first one, second one, they apply the third one, right? You can copy this, come here and say this is what they did. You see what happens. So that is what the test shadow is. So we can change our color to white. Change our color to white. You see this, right? So that's the test shadow. Okay. You can also use the test shadow property to create a plain border around some tests without shadow, for instance, like this, right? So as the last time you were asking me if can we use this to create a this thing, invitation card, right?
Yeah.
And I told you, yes, we can do that, but it involves a lot of CSS properties. So you see that here, they have this, we can achieve something like this. So if in your invitation card, you want to achieve something like this, it means that you have to apply this what? CSS.
Hmm.
You understand? But if you are using a graphic design tool, you don't need to do all these things. You can just edit it. Understand? Just click an icon to just give you something like this, or maybe add the font size. You understand? Or they can give you a short word box to click so that it will add some border effects. You understand? But in here, because it is coding, we just have to write each and every single word code to affect these tests. So that is almost the difference. So in graphic design, we select the icons to add effect to the tests. But in web design, we write the code to add effect to the tests. You understand? Right?
Have it.
Okay, so that is what the test effect is, as we did it already. So here, what are the minimum values required to define a test shadow? You know, most of them are correct, right? But
But
you
still,
didn't look
yeah.
at the question. What are the minimum values?
Hmm.
Minimum. So immediately here, when we started, what did we do? We have only the minimum. These are the minimum, right?
Hmm.
So horizontal and vertical shadows, right? So this is the minimum, right?
Okay.
This and this. So immediately you have these two values, it will still give you the test effects, right? All the other that you added are the blur and the color, right? But if
Hmm.
you want the minimum, these the two values you can have to apply. So this red are just an additional color, and this one is just for the blur, right? Okay, so we finish with the test shadow. So we go with box shadow. Now it is box, not what test. So in box is this as this one. This is a box, right? So this one is a test. So let's see. The CSS box shadow is used to apply one or more shadows to an element. It is simple to use, and then you can only specify the horizontal and the vertical offset of the shadow, right? So it means that we are dealing with the minimum values and they said in the example. And you can add shadow color, spread radius, blur effect, and even change the shadow from an outer shadow to an inner shadow. You understand? So this is for the box shadow. So the minimum for the box shadow also is horizontal and vertical shadow, right?
Yeah.
So the default color of the shadow is like this. You see how? And then they apply 10 pixels, 10 white pixels. So mean instead of test shadow, we write box shadow, right? So if you come here and say this is a box, instead of normal, we can just also target this is the box, right? This here, we can add the shadow here and say box shadow. Instead of test shadow, see box shadow, right? And we say 10 pixels, horizontal and vertical also 10 pixels. So now you see that this box has a shadow, this box, right?
Yeah.
You see that it has a shadow now. We added a box shadow here, right? So that's the example. Then we can also add color to it, as we did with the test shadow. 10, 10, we add the color, which is light blue. You can say we want to add a color light blue, right? So you see how it is now. It has a shadow which is light blue, right? And then here we have the blur effects. which is also this blur. You can also add this blur to it. Right? So you see that it is blur. You see that it is blur now. Right? So that is the simplest way. It's the same thing as a text shadow, but instead of saying text shadow, you see box shadow if you are targeting a box. I hope you understand.
Yeah.
But only the difference comes here, this place. We have something we call insert and we have outset. The insert parameter changes the shadow from an outer shadow outset to an inner shadow inside an element frame. Understand? So this thing you look normally should be outside, but because you use insert, it is going to be in of the box. You look at it as if it is inside the box. So we added something we call insert. So look at how this thing was. So when we added insert, you see what happens. Look at how it is now. Right? So it's like that shadow is now not at the background of it. It's like it is inside there, that box. That's what we say insert. So you can come here and say you don't want insert, you want outsets. Outsets. Right? Normally it has to apply the different way because the normal, the default way is what? Insert. Right? The default way it is insert. So normally you have to give outsert a insert to have that effect. Like the normal one is what? This, which is the outset. So this one is the outset. And then if you want the insert, you just write insets. So that's what you can see here. And you also have a multiple shadow too. You see multiple shadow. You can also apply this multiple shadow. This is the first one. This is the second one. And this is the third one. So here we can apply our maybe a flag, right? You can apply maybe a flag color. Look at the color it gives. So maybe here we can, since we already have red, you can see red. We can give this as, you see, yellow, and you see here is green. We have red, yellow, green, and then the last one we can say we want something blue. Right? So you see what we achieve here. Right? But if you don't want to confuse you can just apply only once. The commas separate them. So you can just say, I just want maybe this, or I just want only one. Only one. You'll see the border, right? And then if you apply and then you want something, you said, this one, I want the first one to have something we call insert. See that? Also apply. You see that when you see that the yellow is inside, right? Because it is inside. The yellow is inside, but the others are the background. You see that this one are the background, but the other one, the yellow is what? Inside. Right? So I can do the same thing to all of them. Say I want all of them to be in. I want all of you to be in. But now all of them are inside. Right? So you can use them to achieve a beautiful design. Right? Some of them. So this is the same. You see this box. You see it stand out. You see, most of the time you can see in website they will do something like that. You see that? It's like because this box shadow. You can use this to apply all these things. So that is normally the box shadow, right? So what does the spread parameter do in the box shadow property? What does spread parameter do in a box shadow property? When I did this, look at what I added something here and look at what happens. Right?
Mm.
If I remove this, all of them, what happened? So here, if you read, talk about a lot of things. Insert parameter, right? Right?
Yeah.
And the insert parameter changes what the shadows from an outer shadow to an inner shadow. That insert parameter. Inner shadow to outer shadow. Right?
Mm.
So here it says the parameter defines the spread radius of the shadow. So a positive value increases the size, a negative value decreases the size. Right?
So it should be the one that shrink the size and everything then. It grows
Mhm.
and shrink.
Okay. So it grows and shrink. Right? Hmm? Now you've gotten it.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to just read it clearly. If not, it's very difficult for you. And then I think we are done with the shadow. It's the same thing. I don't think there's something different. Just that the difference is the box shadow that
Yeah.
you are going to write, and then the insert that you're going to add.
Yeah.
This word, the insert this word that you're going to add. But the four values are already there. So move the text shadow and the box shadow, you can apply them. But for the text shadow, you don't need to add inserts, maybe because it's not a box. I understand. So that is the only difference. You understand. So I don't think we should waste time a lot in this.